Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Dr. Kari, and I am a celebrity hairstylist, which is always so funny to me when I say that out loud. A celebrity hairstylist, though, like legit celebrity hairstylist, certified trichologist. I have my doctorate in trichology, which is the scientific study of hair and scalp disorders. I'm also the owner of Mahogany Hair Revolution, which is a natural hair salon and expanding educational platform for hairstylists and self-taught braiders. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, I'm a licensed barber, and I'm a product developer. I own a product brand called Beauty by Dr. K, which are products that have been formulated to help you care for your hair in a healthier way.
And when you say celebrity, who are some of the celebrities that you have worked with?
I have had the pleasure of serving Brandy. You know, grew up watching.
Be down.
Girl, and I am down. Okay, I am all the way down with Brandy. That is a good friend of mine, a beautiful person. I've had the pleasure of working with Megan Good, who I actually created the Goddess Locks. I can't believe I forgot to tell you that I'm the creator of the Goddess Locks, or your viewers. I mean, you know. But that I'm the creator of the Goddess Locks. Megan Good. I've served Ava DuVernay and Carrie Hilson and Rutina Wesley, Willow Smith.
Tyra
Banks, Eva Marcel, Chrisette Michelle, Tasha Smith. I'm just like, I know there are a lot of people that I've worked with that I'm missing.
Yeah, the list goes
recently
on.
had the pleasure of serving Janae Aiko.
Okay.
That was and Jennifer Hudson. Come on, God.
Okay.
There's a few people.
Okay.
There's a few people.
Did you know this is where I wanted to end up? Like, I want to be a celebrity stylist. Is that something that you thought to yourself?
You know, I never thought that it was never my goal to become a celebrity stylist. Interestingly enough, when I think back on journal entries that I've written, I would list the women I wanted to serve, and I remember Brandy being on that list. I've served Jill Scott, she was on that list. India Irie, who I have not served yet, but I'm sure I will one day.
Okay.
But really my goal when I set out on this career path was to be a business owner.
Okay.
My goal was to own a salon. I wanted to own a salon. I wanted to develop a product line. I wanted to write books, and then I eventually wanted to create a school. I have completed and I'm on the path of doing all of those things. And then the celebrity portion of it just became a part of the journey.
Okay. And when you set out and you knew you wanted to be an owner, you wanted to kind of head your own way in the industry. Why was that? Was it something that you just always had inside of you that you knew, like, I want to own this, I want to own my own shop? Or was it something that influenced you to move into that space? Was it a family member, friend? Where did that come from?
You know, I honestly believe it's a combination of it being inside of me and just what I was exposed to. On both sides of my family, I come from a line of entrepreneurs. So on my mother's side, my grandfather, he's a self-made man. He had an 8th grade education and built a whole construction and development company and passed it down to his children. So I grew up in a family that was all about ownership. Like, we have a family-owned business. You know, my mother was able to work alongside and with her brother for the family-owned business and saw how much wealth was generated through this family-owned business. So I was exposed to it on that side. Even though my mother worked a job prior to working for the family business, again, I was exposed to it being around my cousins and my uncles and her telling me the history of my family and where I come from with my grandfather. And then my father, he is and has been an entrepreneur his whole life. My father has worked in sales, and again, observing and watching him find ways to generate income where it was based on the value that he offered or that he gave. And so he instilled in me a level of discipline at a young age that is complementary to someone who wants to run a business. So I was getting that hands-on discipline, and then also the exposure of, again, from my mother's side of the family. And it's just always in me. I think that helped to develop my personality, because my earliest memories, I've always been a leader.
Yeah.
When we would play school, I'm the teacher.
Yeah.
When we play doctor, I'm the doctor.
Yeah.
I'm not the sick one.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm teaching the ABC.
And your family actually nurtured that in you.
Yeah.
They weren't like, actually, you're gonna play the patient.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did they ever share with you why they themselves had the path that they had? Were they naturally leaders as well? What can you say that you get from their story?
I think for both of my parents, they're natural leaders as well. Even though my mother worked, she worked for the county for a number of years, retired for the county, and then began to work for the family business. From my recollection, she was always striving to get to another level. I believe when she retired, she was like in some type of management position within the county. And so I was able to see hard work and discipline through my mother, and constantly working to improve and get better and go to the next level. And then again, like I said, from my father, just that level of discipline too, that hustle, you know, he would call it the hustle, knowing how to go out there and work on your own. And I remember when he saw my skill in doing hair as a young girl, and we talk about this and laugh about it now, but I had gotten an attitude because I wanted him to increase my allowance. And he was like, you're braiding these kids' hair, you need to start charging them. And I remember in the moment still being upset because I just wanted him to give me the money, but then it kind of settled in. He was teaching me, like, you don't have to depend on me to give you money. You have a skill where you can actually start generating, and then you don't gotta wait on me. And you don't have to wait on a particular amount. You now can control how much money you get. Girl, when I got over my feelings and really tapped into what my dad said, that was how my braiding business started.
Okay, how old were you when you started your braiding business?
I was in high school, so I was like in 10th grade. So what is that, maybe like 14, 15?
You were getting an allowance at this time. This
Yes.
is around when the conversation happened.
Yes, so
Okay.
my daddy laughed. He said it was really his fault because it started with him giving me money for A's. So that was part of the motivation of me making sure I stayed at straight A students. Every time I had a report card, I was getting money.
Right.
So I was kind of developing, maybe what my dad may have seen was like this entitled personality, like I did good work, so you pay me.
Right.
And he was probably like, I gotta break this spirit.
And you know, that's hard because you are performing and working hard and doing well in
Yes,
school.
yes.
It just doesn't pay you in something you could spend.
Right.
It pays you in, you know, an untangible way. You're learning.
True.
But our parents try to buffer that space. But what are you really learning?
Right, and I think the benefit now, of course, being an adult and seeing how I view hard work and all of that, the one thing I know that my dad did, because I'm functioning in this space now, is he showed me, again, even just with getting grades, like, since you're performing so well, then you set your value.
Yeah.
So right now, I'll give you $5 for each A. But if you don't depend on just the set amount that I'm going to give you, and you're performing in this way, then this can be greater than you trying to reach your hand out. Then you go ahead and generate what you can from what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's ultimately, for me, my personal experience, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, it was in me, but then also modeled for me, and then reinforced in me by my parents.
Okay, and so you started your business essentially in high school.
Yes.
Now you were doing hair, you were charging your friends and whomever else came and sat in your chair. And at what point did you start to formalize it into a business? Because maybe they were just paying you, or did you go on ahead and incorporate it and get a pricing list? Did you formalize it right away?
No, it wasn't formal right away. I literally was charging $5 for cornrows.
Oh no.
I know, girl. So it was not a business,
Okay.
but I was practicing.
Right.
Because literally these $5 cornrows would take me so long. I remember so many nights my mom would come downstairs like, Because it was when the boys, like when the Iverson braids were really popular, so boys were starting to grow their hair out.
Yeah.
And getting cornrows. So pretty much all of my clients were guys. Like the girls weren't coming to get their hair done. So I was braiding the boys' hair, like cornrowing their hair. But I wasn't good at parting. So
Okay.
I would like do 2 braids and would run out of space at the nape of the neck.
Yeah.
So I had to unbraid it and figure it out, and it would take me forever. And my mom would be like, especially because they were boys.
But
like,
you would take the time to figure it out.
yeah, but it was like they would maybe come over after school, it'd be like 4 p.m. and then it's going on like 10 p.m. and my mom would come downstairs like,
These boys need to go
because they were
home.
boys, especially like,
Yeah.
Kari, you gonna have to finish your hair at school.
Yeah.
Because
We're going to try again tomorrow.
right. So I was practicing, and I remember when I started to get faster and better when I raised my price to $10.
Okay, let's put this into perspective. You're 14. What year is this?
This is 2000.
2000. So 20 years ago. And prices in 2000 might have been, to fill up your gas tank might have been $20.
Something like that. Because I didn't start driving till the next year. But yeah, it was cheap.
But $5 still.
That was a lot of money for high school students who were probably getting allowances like me.
But could you go to school and spend that in one day, or like how far would this $5 take you?
Girl,
Okay.
You know what I was doing? I was circulating black dollars back then, because then the homie Kevin, he would create CDs where you get like a little mixed CD, like of all the hot songs on the radio, and he sold them for $5. So I'll cornrow somebody here, get $5, and I'm like, Kevin, can I get like that new mix?
Okay, so this wasn't about making money. This was about
wanting to do what I wanted to do,
practicing what you wanted, just to get the thing that you wanted.
Without having to ask my parents, because there were limitations.
Right.
And then I would be waiting. And then in high school, things move fast. Either you're gonna have the new shoes or you not.
Well, $5 isn't getting you the new shoes either.
But if I do enough $5.
Especially when you raised to 10.
Right. But
okay.
But I raised to 10, and this is when the business part started to formulate.
Okay.
What really opened my eyes to like thinking about this as a business was when I was exposed by my friend Robin. Mm-hmm. And this is important because even what I did with Robin back then, I translated into my business now. Now Robin, she was braiding hair too. We were on the cheer squad together. And I remember she had these braids, and I'm like, wow, her braids are so cute. My mom was sending me to like the lady who braided out of her living room, and like would take all day. Mm-hmm. And like they would be so heavy and so big. My mom would always have to come home and she would cut them, and it would just be like a whole thing. And Robin had these cute braids, and they were like short, like how my mom wanted my braids to be. And ultimately, she said she braided her hair, and she was braiding. So I was braiding, and then here I am meeting, or not even meeting, but there's a girl who I'm cool with who's braiding too. Girl, she told me she could braid my hair and charge me $85. And that, exactly, in my head, I'm like, I'm only charging people $10.
Right.
She's making $85. So I go, she braids my hair, loved my hair, like braids popping. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, I told her that I braided too, and I asked her if I could braid with her. And thank God for Robin. Robin was like, yeah, you can braid with me.
Wow.
And she was like, you can braid down. And so I'll split it with you. Since I'm starting the braid, I'll take 45 and I'll give you 40.
Wow. That was a come up. And that was a come up for learning and for your finances.
Yes, but again, it was the exposure.
Yeah, the community.
Outside of like what I knew, $10 was like a lot to me. I had these boys literally complaining when I went to $10. Like, what? $10, Kari, for real? And I'm like, look, I'm faster. It don't take me 4 hours no more.
Right.
My parts are better. You
right.
know? But so to know that she, and then I was observing how she was not only serving students, like she was doing grown women. So this was like when I would go braid.
She's your same age.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So when she would call me to help her braid, she's doing like grown-ups, you know? So I've been like, what?
And you're speeding up the process, so the grown-up is having
So we're making more money.
Right.
Because we can do it so much faster. But that's also how I built my speed. Mm-hmm. So what happened was, I'm braiding with Robin, I'm training with Robin, essentially learning from Robin, improving with Robin, and then I got faster than Robin. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing my math. And I realized,
You're doing a lot of the work.
well, no, I could make this whole $85 by myself.
Oh, okay. But you hadn't started the braid.
I hadn't started the braid, but I'm a visual learner, so I was able to watch her. I mean,
Okay.
I could still braid, but you know, you put in the braid,
After
you
you
braid
see it
down.
so many times.
So she would braid, she would start the braid, and because I would braid the braid down so fast, I would just be like waiting for her to start another braid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's what I mean, my speed, I got faster.
Okay.
I was braiding faster than she could part and install the braid.
Right. Okay.
So I just realized I could take this, I could do this on my own now.
Right.
And so I started to book clients on my own.
Right.
And girl, my life ain't never been the same.
And that was, how old are we now?
This was between still 2000, 2011. So, I'm sorry, 2001. So I braided through high school. Through 2002, I graduated from high school.
Okay. And you
took
were
that skill with me.
17 when you graduated?
And took that skill with me to college.
Okay. So where did you go to school?
I went to high school or college?
College.
So I went to UC Berkeley. Go Bears.
Go Bears. Go Bears.
And
This is where I met you.
yes,
Yes.
this is where you met me.
Yes.
And so here I am braiding hair at this point. And I started my business in 2000 because that's when I started making money. And I did start to build this business. I mean, this business.
But still not formalized.
Formalized in the sense of like filing paperwork and things like that?
Yes.
No, not
Okay.
formalized.
Okay.
I formalized.
This is still a hustle.
It's still a hustle that's
Which-
generating money.
Not to say
knocking the
that
hustle.
when it's formalized, it isn't a hustle.
Right.
But just to say you're still
I wasn't viewing it as my career.
correct.
It was
Okay.
just, yes, I was hustling up money to do what I wanted to do. And so I maintained that. Once I got accepted to UC Berkeley and decided to attend UC Berkeley, I continued to do it because I knew that it was something that could generate additional income for me while I was in school.
right.
And so that
Now you go into school. What do you study?
I study mass communications,
Okay, you study communications. What is on your mind for your career?
advertising, marketing.
Okay.
I knew that I was really creative, and I just in my head I'm like I want to, and I like talking and learning about people. So I
Right.
felt like if I go into mass comm, because that world is so big, you can go into journalism. So
Right.
my mind was just like I wanted to either go into like journalism, media, or like advertising, market research because I enjoy doing things in both fields.
And did you end up going into that field after college?
No.
Okay.
Immediately after college, I started doing hair professionally.
Okay. And how did you decide, I came here, I got this education, but this is what I want to do? How did you know? How did you make that decision? What made those determining factors?
You know, a big determining factor was God. You know, I got to a point where I was talking to a really good friend of mine who had gotten drafted into the NFL. And I'll never forget having a conversation with him where he expressed, you know, I've been playing football my whole life and I finally get paid to do something that I love to do. And I just remember asking myself the question, what could I get paid to do
That I love.
that I
to
really
do.
love? And I was balancing a few jobs at the time. Like I was still doing hair, but I had like a job on campus at the apartment assignments office. I was working as a backstage door guard. I was working as an after school program teacher, like teaching 4th and 5th graders how
So
to
you
read.
weren't just doing hair. You
No, I
still
was-
worked
I
jobs.
was working, but I was
Okay.
working in different fields, which allowed me to experience what it was like in an office and all these things. And
Did you like any of them?
I mean, I enjoyed working with the kids.
You enjoy human interaction.
Yeah, I enjoy working with the kids. And I didn't mind the backstage door guard because it was like really work study. Like I was literally just sitting in the backstage and making good money. So the only job I didn't really care for too much was the apartment assignments job, just because it was a lot of like cubicle, and I realized like being in the office, being in those spaces, like it was really that. Like I just, the work wasn't hard, the people were great, it was just the
You didn't want
environment.
the confinement to a desk. So as long as you were able to interact with people and somehow have some type of physical freedom, right?
Yes.
That was what you had learned by that point.
Yes, that's what I needed.
Okay. And then you graduate, you're leaving college. most kids leaving school, we're going to send out our applications. We're going to apply to all the companies, small, big, little, Craigslist, whatever exists in 2002.
No,
From
at this
college?
point, 2005. Sorry, I graduated in 3 years, so 2005.
Okay. So in 2005, everyone's usually sending out applications in their senior year or right when they graduate, whatever the situation is. If it's travel first, whatever it is, but at some point we're going to send out this application process that we go through to find work. You never did that, or did you?
I never did that.
You never did. So you were sure.
I graduated with a plan.
Okay.
Before I graduated from college, because I decided I wanted to do hair professionally in my second year. So I enrolled in barber college, because then I started to research, okay, Kari, if you're really about to pursue this hair thing, what do you need? And when I started to research at the time, I realized that if I wanted to move in spaces, if I wanted doors to open for me, I needed to get a license. And you didn't have to have a license to do natural hair. I've read and learned about that. Again, I'm a market researcher. So I'm like, okay, but I just knew that it wouldn't allow me to take advantage of certain opportunities if I just didn't have the licensure. I mean, I was in college, so I understood the benefit of a piece of paper, you know, at the time, to validate your sense of learning or whatever. So I was strategic, though. I said, I know that I want to specialize in braiding and natural hair. Let me just expand my ability to serve men and women. I'll go and get my barber license. So I can still serve women with my natural gift. I'll study how to do men's hair. So I strategically enrolled in barber school while I was still doing classes at Cal. So that I positioned myself to finish barber school at the same time that I graduated. So it wasn't necessarily at the same time, the same year. So I graduated from Cal summer of 2005, got my license November of 2005. Also too, because I had determined, Kari, long term, where do you see yourself? And that's when I said, I don't just want to be your regular stylist behind the chair. I want to be able to serve women on a bigger scale, on a greater level. And that's when I got exposed to trichology, the scientific study of hair and scalp disorders. Because again, I'm in mass comm. So I began to strategically, in my classes, take opportunities to do research in the market I wanted to work in. So anytime I had a market research paper, I was researching the black hair care market.
Okay.
And so I strategically, again, decided to enroll in a trichology program after graduating from college, because I started to see the trend of black women that started to complain about hair loss. And in studying the market and seeing how the industry was constantly shifting and seeing the direction it was going in, I said, I'm going to be needed in the future. Let me position myself now to have the information that these women are going to need when they start losing their hair. I already have the gift and the solution of natural hairstyling. They don't know it yet, but I see the effects these relaxers are having, and it's going to get worse. So I graduated from college with a plan. And the other way that I positioned myself for where I am now is because I knew I wanted to be a business owner. There was a nonprofit located in downtown Oakland called Women's Initiative, and they offered a free course that taught you how to write a business plan.
How did you find them?
How did I hear about Women's Initiative? I wish I could remember. I can't remember if someone told me about it or if I saw a flyer.
But your radars were up and you
I might have even researched it. I might have even researched like programs to help me write a business plan or something like that. Because I know in my final year in college, I strategically started taking classes at the Haas Business School, because again, now I knew what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So I intentionally took marketing classes through Haas. I intentionally, because I started thinking, what skill set will I need since I know I want to be a business person, or I want to run up my own business. And so I found this program.
And you also had never considered at this point, you know, I'm thinking if I want to be a stylist and I want to own my own salon, I'm going to go and work at a salon and learn from that route. But being in school, you're saying that it, and your history just within your family, that it gave you a mindset more of approaching it, of building the business on your own from the beginning?
Well, I think what I was doing was just gathering my tools.
Okay.
So this was me gathering.
So wherever you were going to have these tools.
I was already, yes, in the environment of school. So let me take advantage of the fact that I'm in school and gather as many tools as possible. I want to be a business owner. I'm going to need the skill of knowing how to market and promote myself. I want to be a business owner. I'm going to I've never run a business, and there are people who I can talk to, but let me at least figure out what the inner workings of this is going to be by going through this nonprofit organization who's going to show me how to write a business plan. Organize my thoughts around me wanting to be a business owner. Because the final piece is I did immerse myself in the salon environment, and then again being very strategic by way of life forced me to become strategic in the next step that I took towards building my business.
Okay, tell me about that.
So I graduated from college and I moved home into December of 2005, moved back home.
And you've got your barber certification.
I got my barber's license.
You have a business plan.
I have a business plan.
Okay.
No, I don't have a full business plan. By the time we graduated from the program, you had to at least have a one sheet. But they had given us this big binder where if you did all the exercises, all you had to do was go through, take the information from your exercises, and you could format it into a business plan. But I did have a one sheet.
Okay. And the blueprints to create a business plan.
And the blueprint.
You've got some business classes under your belt, and you've got some communication, marketing, advertising skills as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Part of one of the assignments in that business writing program was to contact someone who was in the industry that you're working in, and to interview them and ask them questions that might be helpful in you setting up your business.
Okay.
The woman that I interviewed was a salon owner.
What course was this?
This was through that nonprofit women's initiative.
Through the nonprofit.
Yeah, so that
Okay.
was one of the assignments, one of the tasks.
Okay.
To interview someone who was doing what you wanted to do.
Okay.
Ask them certain questions. What are your startup costs? What obstacles have you had? What would you do differently?
Okay.
So the woman that I interviewed for that particular assignment was the owner of the salon that I got my hair done at all while I was in high school.
What did you learn from her in that interview?
Oh man, I can't remember exactly.
But was it good news at the time?
Yeah, I mean, it was just insightful.
Yeah.
If anything, I wanted to know about the cost of starting the business.
Yeah.
But I learned the most once I started actually working in her salon.
Okay.
So she's the woman that I called and said, hey, I remember I interviewed you for my class. I'm moving back to LA. I need a salon to work out of. I want to know if you have a booth available. And she said, yeah. So I moved back to LA, and my mother got sick, and we didn't know how sick she was. And November of 2006, she passed away suddenly. Now, the full year of 2006, when I moved back to LA, I started working in the salon. I didn't have any clients. All my clients I had built in the Bay. So I was literally flying back and forth from LA to Oakland once a month to serve my clients in the Bay, generating money to try to pay my booth rent, but I wasn't making enough. So my mother was paying my booth rent for me, but encouraging me and supporting me the whole time. So I'm making these monthly trips. I'm trying to build my clientele in LA. I'm having the ups and downs of feeling discouraged. My mom is cheering me on. Kari, it's fine. I got you. I'm gonna help you. And then she dies.
Wow.
And I panic.
Wow, yeah.
And I remember having a meeting with my sister and my brother and telling them, I can't afford to do hair anymore. Mommy was paying my booth rent. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't have enough clients. I can't afford to now go back and forth to Oakland. But I have a degree. That's why God allowed me to go to college. I'm smart. I haven't been out of college that long. I can get a job.
Yeah.
And my brother, I remember him saying, Mommy wouldn't want you to do that. And I just remember feeling like stuck, like just, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I ended up moving in with my uncle, my mom's oldest brother. And in my grief, I couldn't sleep. So I began
Thank goodness for your uncle.
and thank God for my uncle. He loved my mom dearly. They were very close. So yes, he took me in and allowed